Good evening and welcome to TLD Flyer Tyler 658 Ultimate's first fan art tutorial. This is TLD Flyer Tyler 658 Ultimate here with bringing you the first fan art tutorial of a certain character from Wish Dragon, Miss Li Na Wang. Tonight I'm just gonna show you how to trace over her to see what it looks like in the final design. So you will need Critter if you've got it. If not, Premiere Pro, or you could just use Affinity or let's just say any software, any art software that you'll need, and then just trace over her. So you will need some software, some pens, and you'll need a photo of a character of your choice. But for example, we're just going to use Li Na Wang, and we'll see how we go. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the tutorial. Here we've got a picture of Li Na Wang. So what you'll need to do is, if you'll need to have Lena's photo at the bottom, and then just draw on layer one. That way, you're not making a mistake for your first try. There we go. So you can use the freehand brush tool, or if you're more experienced and want it to be neat, you can always use the freehand path tool. So yeah, you'll want your line size to be just about for 5 or 4.00 px. You just don't want your lines too big, otherwise it'll ruin your drawing. So yeah, you might want to start off with a line first. So you use the square tool, and to make it, a proper drawing, just add the square over your image. If it's too big, there's always enough room. Or if you want to make it so it fits the image, you'll probably want to use the transform a layer or selection tool. Grab it, make it small so it fits near to where the image is. If it's still too close, just use all the edges so it fits in. Okay, for your next job, you'll need to change the size of your lines. So if you want it just right, you need it on either 6, let's just say 4.00 to 6.00, to make sure that it's specific with what you want to draw over. So what we'll start with is, because she's a CGI character, we'll try and just draw her head first, because let's just say the hair would be the hardest, and you want to get her head just right so you don't mess it up. So we'll start drawing. We're on 6 points. See that it doesn't you might want it on 5 if you want it perfect. But yeah, we'll start with the head. So what you do is just draw around her head. Make sure you don't miss any lines. If you want to make it bigger, it can be optional. Just use your mouse, and we'll make it like a 7, just to be easier. And then try and be careful going round her. You don't want to, scribble. You want to have her head just right. So this could take several minutes, but all you need to do is just go around her head. Try not to miss her ears. The ears are important, the hair is important, and you want to try and have, if you've like made a mistake over the line, all you got to do is use a rubber tool, make the line a bit bigger, and just rub that part out. So in case you make a mistake, always go and rub something out if it's not right for you. Then go back to its original size and make sure that you keep in between the lines. Do not go over, do not go under. You want it just about the right size so that you know where to draw her lips, where to draw her hair, where to draw her eyes. For the eyes, you'll probably want, but we'll get to that in just a sec. Just go over the head first, just one step at a time, eh? Don't worry too much if if the head isn't exactly how you want it, you know. But if you want it to be perfect, just try and rub it out, ideally, just to make sure that you want it to be perfect. Let's just say taking your time on drawing the right parts of the art is key. So you want to make sure you have it just right. There we go. If the lines do not meet up together, you can always use the line tool to make, you know, the head and stuff right. Probably ideal if you use the line tool for like straight lines, but if it's like curves, then don't be fooled by this tool. This is just a guide to make sure that things are safe in position. The ears you won't have to worry about because if they're detached, actually they can just be added on. But if they're attached, then if they were attached like real ears, similar to detached ears, then you would have to draw. But since her ears are detached, you won't have to worry about the ears being connected. Now, if you want to make sure that you go over your lines, I'd zoom in just to make sure that everything is correct and key, so that you make sure you don't make any sudden, mistakes, and just try not to go over what's really important. Just make sure that you keep in with the lines so you don't, But if you're not sure, always go back, have a look, and see, do I want my art to be right? Do I want my art to be make sense? Always rub out, never rush what needs to be done here. Just take your time with it. Don't worry if you don't get it done the first time. I've made a lot of mistakes during this period. So, and don't forget, fan art does, it takes a lot of practice. If you self-taught, then you may want to watch a tutorial just to get started. Otherwise, you will, but if you know what you're doing, I would strongly advise you watch a tutorial so that you get the stuff just right. Now, now that we've done her part of her head, we can draw her ears now. Since it's CGI and they're detached, you won't have to worry about it not, you know. There we go. So, her hair, because she's a woman, you might want to be very careful because she's CGI. So you might want to be careful with, drawing her hair. So if you want it to be like realistic, you've got to zoom in to make sure. But like I said before, don't worry if you don't get it right the first time. It does take a lot of practice. So you might want to be careful with drawing her hair if you want it, straight. If you can't do straight lines, you may use the line tool to make sure it does stay in position if you're having trouble with using the freehand path tool. So you might want to be careful with, keeping things in line if you want to. Sorry if I'm saying things the same over, just want to be careful. So yeah, make sure so I would advise that you just zoom in every time just to make sure you've not made a mistake. It does take a lot of practice, So as we go down, because her hair's straight, you might want to use the line tool to make it straight so that we don't, make it too wavy. As for her hair on the right, you may want to just put it to about there so you have enough room to draw her body and her neck. So just leave it to about there. So step number two would be to draw her curves. Because it's her body, you might want to make sure that you are lining everything up, but you might not need the line tool for this because these are just arches. So just draw around her very slowly so you make sure that you get her body just the way it's drawn in the movie. Don't worry if you don't have it connected first. I've had trouble with this before, so it just needs a lot of practice. For her arms, you might want to make sure that her arms doesn't clash with her t-shirt. So we'll make her t-shirt separate so that we know which colour is which. But we'll get to that once we've sorted out which colour goes for the shirt and that, because we want to make sure. If it's going to be a proper fan art, you might want to choose your colours carefully, only because due to copyright, you can get copyright ban. So and but if you just do your art for fun and you don't monetize them, then you should be okay. But you do want to make sure that that you don't, that you pick your colours carefully. Okay, these are arches again, so you might want to be careful with this. Just be careful that, her arms and her dress isn't, you might want to just be careful because despite it being art, keeping it simple would be key, just so you want to make it, slightly perfect. Okay, for her necklace, we might have to put that on a separate layer only because you don't want to ruin the shots what you've just done on the first layer. There we go. But for her eyes, nose, lips, teeth, and maybe her eyebrows, wool should be okay to keep on the same layer. But I think, just to be safe, just draw her necklace on a separate layer. Okay, shall we see what we've done so far? So if you want to see how, if you want to check what you've done so far, just take the eyedropper tool off and see what she's like. Not bad for a first timer. But yeah, just try and keep your eye on what you're doing to begin with, just to make sure that it does fit. Okay, we'll do the rest of the hair now. If you've missed a couple of lines, you can always use the line tool just to make sure her hair's straight, her body's straight, her face is, correctly drawn. But like I said, it doesn't matter if you're a first timer. It does like I just said for the third time now, it does take a lot of practice. So you just want to take your time with this drawing, like what Jerry says from Toy Story 2. You can't rush art. So just take your time with it. If you want it to be very perfect, don't get yourself too stressed. There we go. So her eyebrows fixed. We need to draw her other one. Her eyes, we might want to change the number of the size just to make it, a bit more realistic, if you know what I mean. Okay, her nose. See now. I wonder what Natasha will think of her character if she, likes fan art. Well, that depends on how busy she is, because I know she's a busy celebrity actress. And I've only just known her a couple of months, because I really enjoyed her work as Lena. So, I really, I really like her character. Okay, back to where we were. So, for the eyes, you might want to change. You might want to change the line size to make sure that her eyes aren't too difficult to draw around. So we'll start with her eyes first, because these could take a while, or it may take a few minutes. So we've put it on size number 5. So we'll make sure that her eyes are in position. Okay, so you want to go around the eyes very carefully, just so that you don't, clash. Okay, for her eyelashes, you might want to just draw them briefly. If you do tend to slightly misfocus, you might end up, getting it wrong the first time. But if you're very careful. So as for the pupil, as I've done it with celebrity fan arts, you might just want to use a circle tool just to make sure that her eyes are in position. And then for her beady eye at the top, just make it a small one. There, that looks good, doesn't it? So you might want to have a little check. Yeah, she's looking good so far. She's looking good. Okay, now for the second eye. You might want to go back onto the freehand path tool. But because her eyes are so different, you might want to take your time with doing them both, only because you don't want to make another mistake by going over the eyes and then ultimately missing her other tool. So you might want to go over the eyelashes again, just carefully this time. There we go. The eyes are officially in position. Now we just need the circle tool again. So basically, nope. An oval isn't good enough. You'd need to make it a circle, but if her eye cannot fit, just make it, but just don't make it too overly. You want to make the beady eyes eye enough so you don't. Okay, but if you can't go over that, you can always use the freehand path tool if you want the eye, your second eye to be subtle. So this is one thing you're going to have to remember. If you can't get the eye shape right as the first one, you can always use the freehand path tool. It would be easier just to make sure that you're getting things perfect. But if it's not perfect, there's always a saying. If at first you don't succeed the first time, you can always try again, and just see how it goes. Whatever floats your boat, one step at a time. Am I right? Okay. So here is the lips. You might want to be careful for this. So because it's on a flat background, you want her lips to be, subtle. So you might have to draw one line at a time, just to make sure that her lips are perfectly subtle. Okay. If they're not perfect the first time, don't hesitate to rush. Just go over it as many times as you need until you finally, get comfortable with it. There we go. Her lips are nice and subtle. Now, for her smiling, because we want her to smile, you might want to be very careful drawing the smiling lips. Now, for the teeth, you might want to be careful drawing the teeth so that if because as her mouth is clearly a little open, you might want to be careful. If you've made a mistake, like in the middle for her lips or at the top, you can always try again. So, yeah, just make sure that the lips and then the mouth is smiling properly. But you want to get her smiling, correctly. There we go. Now, for her teeth, you might want to use the line tool just to make sure that the teeth are straight and that you're not missing any, lines. Now, for her teeth, you might need just to put like 4 on each side, just to make sure that they're proper teeth and that they're not, crooked. Or if you've got enough room, just add as many lines as you want within reason. But you may want to stop just to be, on the safe side for this. So there we go. There we go. Let's see how we've done. She's perfect so far. At least that's how I see it. But don't worry if you don't get it right the first time. It does. It doesn't matter too much because this is the first. This is like a first time that you've done anyone CGI. So okay, so before you color her in, you might want just to open a new layer. So you go to layer, new add paint layer, and then if you want to bring her over the top first layer, and then just draw her necklace. So you might want to go back to 7 again, so that her necklace is, just pretty darn straight. You know what I mean? So let's see. So if we draw her necklace, uh, first, and then add the ring and then the green gem after, it's a circle, so you might just want to do a teeny weeny oval, not mess about too much with this. If you don't get it right the first time, you can always just add it to the first part here. Now, you might want to be careful with drawing, I think drawing just round her front part of the neck would be just about accurate. Okay, going back down, if you're done with adding the layer for the necklace, just add it back down and then bring the top layer back up. Take the green layer off for now. And then now, as we get to colouring, her hair is black, so you might want to just, black's an easy colour. So you just need to colour her eyebrows and her hair for now. There we go. But you might want to be careful. So if you want to add like a black layer tool, so that we have enough room for her skin and ears. There we go. Okay. Eyes are dark brown, so let me move myself down here so that you can see the colors. This is called a color palette. It's where you pick the choice of your colors. So basically, it's like a paint by numbers, but on your computer. So if you wanted to pick like a bright yellow for the skin, just go here and just make sure that it fits in with the right color. There we go. But we do need to be very careful with this, so we don't want it to too complex. Right, for her ears, because the filling is for her ears, you're going to need a different color for that. But if you like fill it in and you color all of the, but if you got it just right, there, you won't have a problem. Now, because we're still on black, might as well add the eyebrows, eyelashes. If you do have a problem with missing with anything else, you can always color it in using the paint tool. But you might want to change the size just, for obvious reasons. Just color slightly, but try not to miss, try not to go over the line. You just want it to be in the line so that you don't, ruin your precious art. Okay. Now we add the other side of the eyelashes. Same as before. Do not, and I repeat this, do not make this complex. You want to make this just right so that you don't, distract yourself from what really needs to be done. Okay, so we've got the skin color, we've got the hair color. We just need the color for the eyes. Okay, the color for the eyes. Let's see now. Her eyes would be like dark brown, so you need them like, you might want them just dark brown, so not too light. There we go. Now, for those shiny parts of the eyes, you'll need white again. And then for the inside of the white, you will need to fill it in as much as possible and that you're not missing, you're trying to get rid of all the white here. So that's the basic thing you need to be doing. So make sure that it's, briefly in that position. But you don't want to miss out too much of your lines, so we'll just be very careful. So if you want to make sure that your art is perfect, you might want to reconsider changing the size of your brush so that you don't ruin the eye color or the pattern of how it's supposed to be. End of the day, you want your art to be just right if you're more, keeping things perfect. But if you don't get it right the first time, yeah, just try again. Okay. For her ear color, you might want to just darken it. It's not like you're ruining your color. So now down to the lips. If you want your character's lips to be, they have to suit the character. So Lena's lips are, let's see now, light to medium pink. There we go. Isn't she pretty? See how we've done so far, eh? Atta girl. She's so pretty. I really like her, Best character out of the movie. Okay, back to where we were with the shirt. The shirt needs to be cream, so you don't want it too white. You want it just so that it fits the right, part of the character. But you want it to show, so you might want to darken it or lighten it, or just put it like tortoiseshell. Now, for the teeth, you're going to want them pearly whites. But you don't want to, miss out the lines. So you'll probably want to tone them down a bit. Only because to make sure that you're not get rid of the, not just to get rid of the white, but don't get rid of your lines so quickly. You want them to show. So yes, definitely want them to show. Okay, so for the inside of the mouth, like most men and women's mouth, you might want them dark because it's inside of the mouth, you see. Okay, so that's that bit sorted. Now we move on to that part of the dress. Now, you might just want it silver, you might just want it, there we go. So we might just want this part silver. Like silver, not like grey. Okay, and then, but you might want to fill it in properly for this one, so leave it at number 2. And then for the green, I'd make it a lighter green, just to make sure that it's not the same color shade as it is in the movie. and we'll add the background in just a few moments. So if you're done drawing her, always delete it. Always delete the photo if you're done using it. Don't keep it on, because if you want to make it perfect, you cannot leave the layer. You've got to get rid of it before you start exporting and saving. So we remove the layer, add everything on. You might want to have Lena facing the bottom so that you can see the necklace. And there you go. Okay. Now, for the background, you might want a lighter color so that Lena has to show. So put it like aqua. Aqua now looks like a sound choice, that. And there you have it, your finished art. So here are the instructions. You go to File, you export, and you save it into the file. And then press Save As. And then don't log out too quickly, otherwise it will not save. If you're done with the document, I would advise that you delete it, because you won't be needing it if you're not going to draw her again. But if you're going to draw her again in like a different shade, then feel free to save before you export if you want to do it, but we'll come to that another time. But I just want to say that Natasha Lou Bodizel did a great job at voicing this young lady, and I really appreciate her as a celebrity voicing this one beautiful young lady character from Sony. Sony should be so proud. Whether it be underrated or not, Li Na Wang is a perfect character. And that's all we have time for. Thank you for joining me. It has been an honor letting me show you a great demonstration of how to draw the perfect fan art. Subscribe to subscribe to TLD Flyer Tyler 658 Ultimate for more extraordinary, cool videos. And I shall be back with another art tutorial real soon. See you real soon. Good night, folks.